In this project, we're going to create a very simple character like this, and then add the armature and the bone structure, so it'll look something like this. And then we will animate the character to wave his arm or walk or do something like that. So I'm going to create a new project. Go into front view. I'm going to grab my default cube, drag it on the Z-axis, then Shift A, add another cube, grab it, drag it up, and then I will do S to scale, and then on the X-axis, and then I'll view it from the side, scale on the Y-axis. Okay, something like that. Go back to front view. I will do Shift D to duplicate it, and then I will do Shift D again, and then R and rotate it 90 degrees to make that my arm. And then I'll scale it down just a little bit, especially maybe on the Z. Okay, that looks good. I'll duplicate that one, drag it over here. Okay, then I'm going to group all of this together. So select all of it, and then I'm going to do Control J to join them. So now you can see up here it just became one object. It's called Cube 4. I could go up here and double click and call this body or whatever you want to call it. Okay, then I'm going to tab into edit mode. And in order for my arms and legs to be able to bend, I need to do some loop cuts to make the bending look more natural. So I'm going to do Control R and add a few loop cuts to the arm. And then come over this arm, same thing. And then on the legs, okay, that should be good enough for this character. Obviously, the number of loop cuts that you do, the more realistic you can make the animations look, but this is a pretty simple little character, so it really doesn't matter. Now I'm going to go back into object mode. I'm going to do a Shift A, and I'm going to add the armature, and that shows me my first bone. I'm going to grab that bone and use that as kind of the spine, the main bone. So I'm going to grab it, drag along the Z, but you can notice that when I drag it up here, it disappears into the body because it's right there at the origin. So what I need to do now is, with the armature still selected, I'm going to go down to this little like Running Man type icon. That is the data icon for the armature. I'm going to go down to Viewport Display, and I'm going to check the option that says in front, and that will keep the bone always in front. Then I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to grab the top of that bone. I'm going to hit E to extrude it. Actually, I'm going to do this side. And I'm going to make this like the collarbone. And then this will be the upper part of the arm, and then E to extrude for the lower part of the arm. Then I'm going to come down to the bottom, and same thing. I'll make this like the hip bone, and then upper leg and lower leg. I'm only going to do the one side because then we're going to mirror that over. So what I need to do now is go down to the little bone icon here, and I need to start naming these. So like this one could be the spine. This would be a collarbone, but which side? Well, if we're looking directly on, it's obviously right side, but if we're thinking like this is the front of the person, this would actually be the left. So I'm going to do collar.L for left. Then for this, I'm going to do upper arm.L, lower arm.L, etc. So go ahead and rename all your bones. Make sure on this side they're all .L. This is important. You'll see why as soon as we mirror it. Okay, I've named all my bones. Now I'm going to hit A on the keyboard to select all of them. Right click and go to Symmetrize, and it will mirror those. And you can see now when I select those bones, this is collar.R, upper arm.R, lower arm.R, hip.r, etc. So by using the .l, it's a common naming convention already built into Blender. It recognizes that that's the left side, and then when we create the mirror of that, it will rename those bones. Since this one did not have a .r or .l, it did not need to mirror that, because obviously that one is in the middle. All right, we have created them. Now we are ready to start posing our character. So to do that, I'm going to go into pose mode, and I grab an arm. Notice it does not move my character, so I need to link the two together. So what I'm going to do is go back into object mode. I'm going to select my character first, then holding shift select the armature. Then I'm going to do Control P to parent those, and it recognizes that we have an armature there, so it's going to say, how do we want to do this with empty groups, envelope groups? Well, what we want to do is the with automatic weights, and we'll discuss that later what that actually means. But now when I go into pose mode, if I grab this arm and move it, we can see it starts moving my character. If I grab this one, grab this, move it down, and we can start posing our character using the bones that we've added. So to animate it, I'm going to drag up on this bar so I can see my timeline. I'm going to start my character off with both arms down, so I'm going to drag this down, making him look like this. Then with my mouse hovering over the armature, I'm going to hit A to make sure I select all of it, then hit I to insert a keyframe. So we can see down here, if I expand this and look under my summary, it has created keyframes for each part of my armature, and it has created a keyframe for every single one of the bones because I did A to select all. Now I'm going to move this over to say maybe 20. I'm going to grab this arm, drag it up. Now I could create, just because I only moved those two bones, I could select just those two and I could create a new keyframe for those. But if I do that, that could cause problems later on. So I'm always going to do A to select all, and then I to select a new keyframe for all of them. Then I'll come over here to 40, and I'm going to grab just this one, drag it down, A, select all of them, I, create a keyframe, drag this over to 60, I'll grab that again, A, select all, I, keyframe, and we can see that now my animation looks like him raising his arm and then waving. Well, what if I wanted to continue the waving process? Well, basically, it's going to be from this to this over and over again. So instead of redoing the animation over and over again, I'm going to collapse all of these, and then I'm going to select these two, hit Shift D to duplicate, and then I'll drag it over here to 80. Then I'll select this one, Shift D, drag it over to 100, and let me do it one more time. I'll take the one from 80, duplicate it, and take this one, duplicate it. And now if I play this, we can see that it repeats that same motion over and over again. So we could do the same thing with walking. If I were to turn this to the side and I started making some kind of a walking cycle, taking that one up, this one maybe back a little bit, so I could start making my walking cycle, get the cycle down, and then just start duplicating, and it'll keep doing the cycle over and over and over again. So that is the basics of creating an animation.